This podcast is entirely listener supported. To find out how you can help, head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
Tomorrow at this time, I will be flying to Italy.
To avoid your wedding?
To attend my wedding.
To attend your wedding. No, this is crazy, man. How are you feeling?
A little frazzled, just because like there's so many things to do before now and then.
Well, I love that we're recording podcasts the day before your wedding. Like,
yeah,
that feels like something that shouldn't be possible.
I know, right?
That feels like you should be too busy to do this right now.
It's pretty wild.
I genuinely feel like it probably won't feel too different to me to be married.
I agree. But I don't know.
Yeah, but everybody tells me that's wrong. Yeah. Everybody's like, no, like the second it happens, like things are gonna feel different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys already City Hall and sign it? Like, are you married right now?
No, we do that after we get back. Actually,
okay.
We did the initial like applying for the marriage license thing where you have to go down.
The most romantic part of the wedding.
Have you done that yet?
No.
It is. It's like going to the DMV.
Yeah.
We got
the love DMV.
It's ridiculous. You just sit there waiting in line, and you have to both be there. You can't just have one person do it.
That's
you have
the
to both be there. It's stupid. It's just paperwork and lameness, but that's
wow. Well, man, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be pretty wild.
Life, everything has changed.
It's true, man. Next time you see me, I'll have a ring on my finger, which is crazy to think
so
about.
crazy. You can't wear those unless you're married. Welcome to We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni. I also have a dream for when we get back. I know we don't talk about this a lot, but I want to bring it up. I have a dream of 1,000 patrons for when I get back from my wedding.
Dream of 1,000 patrons?
Think we can get there?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so. Anyway,
I think so.
I hope people check out patreon.com.
Right now, we only have about 700 people who listen to this. So...
Ouch.
So we have an almost...
We really need to expand the audience first.
We have 100, but well... 200 of them, I think, are just my mom reloading the episode on Facebook.
And we appreciate that.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. What are we talking about today? We are talking about one of my favorite topics, the Oculus VR, virtual reality in general.
Oh, God, are we on a tech podcast? Is this a tech podcast
Welcome
now?
to DLC!
Oh.
No? Okay, but no, check this out. This has really interesting ramifications. This is an article on Boing Boing about how the idea of virtual reality and the reality of virtual reality could actually help people empathize more. And I think we're kind of seeing this with video games in general. There's a big movement inside gaming to create experiences that show you what it's like to live in someone else's shoes.
There's also a big movement inside of gaming full of terrible people who want to shut that down.
Well, that's true.
But that's fine.
We can ignore that for the moment.
And we will, and I'll ignore it for the rest of my fucking life. No, I think VR is in a particularly interesting position. Any art done well can make you empathize with the character, a subject,
the human condition.
The human condition.
One would argue that's what art's job is.
Yeah, and I mean, we were just talking about this. Kirk Hamilton and I from Kotaku were talking about this. Why I can watch Breaking Bad, but I can't watch The Sopranos. And the reason is they did such a good job of making me care about and understand Walter White from the go.
Right.
That I empathized with him almost instantaneously.
Well,
and then they took that away from me.
Well, The Sopranos could be called Already Bad.
Yeah. Here are some terrible people doing terrible shit.
Yeah.
But the ability, you know, when you look at something like Breaking Bad and you look at how many people at the end of the show are still just like, fuck yeah, Walter White. It's like, wow, they really made you care about this guy who was fundamentally terrible. To make you understand the villain that way.
Right.
Or to make you understand another person that way is really interesting. And VR is in a position to do that in a very different way than any other medium we've ever seen before, just because welcome to exactly being in their shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the unique situation or the unique potential that virtual reality has, and really gaming has always had, in my opinion, because I understand something when I'm inside the system. When I have to, maintain the trash route in my Sim City, I have a better understanding of how actual city construction works.
And every time I see a city planner or I meet somebody in the bar who's a civil engineer, I'm just like, how come this city sucks when my fucking Sim City runs perfect, like a well-oiled machine? How could you guys have fucked this up?
Yeah,
is what I say to people.
Well, yes. I just think that being inside the system and having to work the system always informs you in a much better way. So virtual reality could be used as a way to give you the experience of being somebody else, teaching you things in a way that we've never been able to before. I mean, science fiction has talked about this a lot. Do you ever see the movie 3 Strange Days? Or Strange Days.
Strange Days.
Not 3 Strange Days.
Strange Days is the jam.
Right?
Strange Days came out in 1999, right around the same time as like the original Matrix and the 13th Floor and all that stuff. And Strange Days like fell by the wayside because of those other movies. But Strange Days had such a good take on it.
So cool. And it was all about VR sort of recording your human experience and uploading it to somebody else so that you can step inside someone else's life.
Yeah, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was Ray Fiennes as a dude who was selling illegally VR snuff films.
Right.
And and so you could feel what it was like to die.
Yeah.
And it was still very 90s cyberpunk. It had that aesthetic.
Right.
But I loved that it took that road with it as opposed to like the actiony Matrixy road, which is still just as good.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting to think about the idea of putting yourself in someone else's body and the idea that that could be sold as a drug. Like a human experience from somebody else's viewpoint could be sold as like the ultimate form of entertainment.
I think that's a very compelling idea. The idea of doing something insane or sane or just living your normal day, but somehow recording every sensation, recording the biochemical reaction that happens when you do that thing, and then giving it to somebody else and having that person step into your shoes in a very real way.
And, VR is a long way from that right now.
Right.
VR has a lot of fundamental problems, and by problems, I mean just limitations of technology right now. But even simple studies that they've done, even simple experiments that they've run, have shown very, very interesting results. There was a study that was done where they took tall people and in VR made them shorter, and they took short people and in VR made them taller, and put them into a virtual subway car full of passengers, but they changed their perspective. So you were either 6 inches taller or 6 inches shorter. Crazy. And then they would have the passengers on the train, all these virtual passengers, slowly start to look at this person. And the people who were made shorter felt that the passengers were looking at them in a threatening or condescending way.
Wow.
The people who were made taller said, now I know what it's like to be tall and have the respect of these people. When really, the looks...
It was exactly the same.
It was exactly the same.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, just that simple... Now I know what it's like to be shorter.
Yeah.
Now I know what it's like to be taller, even if it's false or and then to hear how somebody who is tall or short felt about being put in your position when you're in the opposite one.
You know what I want then? I want the VR waiter/waitress simulator that is mandatory for every human being so that we all can treat them with a little fucking dignity.
Mr. Firestone, welcome to the virtual reality arcade.
Well, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, good. We're glad you're glad, Mr. Firestone.
It's cost a whole lot of money.
Yes, it did.
But I'm sure it'll be worth every penny.
Yeah, but we're going to give you an experience that you're never going to forget, Mr. Firestone.
That is what I am looking for.
Why don't you just put yourself in here?
Yeah, I just put these on my face.
Yeah, and just...
Oh, dear God. Oh, wow. It's so
excuse
real.
me. Excuse me.
Yes?
I don't understand why it's so hard to just get a refill on this.
Right.
Like, you can't just, like, what's going on, man? Keep it going. What are you texting back there? Let's go.
Hey, excuse me, pal. I'm just,
No,
just doing my job over here.
You excuse me. You get over here, man. This food is cold.
Well,
this isn't what I asked specifically if this had capers. You said there were no capers.
Well,
why are there capers?
There shouldn't have been. It wasn't my fault. I'm sure the chef made a mistake.
I don't care. I don't want you to pass the buck, man. I just want you to get me the food.
Oh, well,
Were you out partying late last night? What, do you got an audition tomorrow? Why don't you just get me my fucking food, man?
All right,
Get your head in the game.
Just calm down. I'm not used to dealing with people in this manner.
Why don't you get used to dealing with people at all? If you can't do this, why are you here?
Check me out! Check me out!
No, Mr. Firestone. You live here now. You can either deposit $10 million into our account or be a member of the working class forever.
Oh, dear God, no. I lived in a gated community.
Oh, the gate's closed, Mr. Firestone. You're closed in for good. Yeah, fuck those people.
I'm into that.
Yeah, right?
I'm into that happening.
I want to start a strike team where we sneak into Mr. Firestone's fucking room at night and put him in there.
Forced virtual reality.
Forced virtual empathy.
These virtual reality goggles have a lock and clamp system.
Yeah, like Sword Art Online, but for making people better. Like, that's what I want to do. They've run a few of these. They ran experiments just on avatars in Second Life. They put them into a Second Life environment, and they said, hey, man, you are a white guy, and now you're a black woman, and be a black woman for 30 minutes. And they actually showed that just 30 minutes of playing as an avatar that is fundamentally different than who you are makes you think about that sort of person in a different way.
Yeah.
That's it, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they tested 6 months later, and that was still there. Empathy, even if it's a small amount of empathy, is so fucking powerful.
Right. Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
You know?
How cool would it be if technology is the conduit through which you can inject people with some fucking feelings? You know? It's just to walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
Via this series of technologies.
Well, I think what's brilliant to me is Oculus is ostensibly right now a VR game company.
Right.
That's what they do. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have very much interest in games at all. This is not saying that they have contempt for games. All of these guys are game people. You look at who's running the company. Like, they came from Gaikai. They came from other gaming outlets, whatever. I think they care about games. I think they like games. I think they know that games are a great way to sell this thing and get it into homes and make their money back and become profitable. Mm-hmm. But my stars, what sort of limited people would they be if they didn't create this and immediately stop thinking about games and start thinking about connecting people, doing things in the medical field, doing things in the psychology and sociology.
Just giving people experiences that are impossible for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like doing things like that where you can restrict somebody or add to somebody in some way so they understand other people's privileges and shortcomings.
Yeah.
And just now you get it. They they do a lot of things where they do weird telepresence stuff where they'll have a man and a woman stand across from each other and wear VR headsets and cameras. Mm-hmm. And the camera shows you the point of view of you looking at that person.
Oh, wow.
And shows you what it's like to be looked at.
Wow.
The way or how the other person is looking. And just that alone, right?
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's just a mirror. It's just a mirror up to your behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to what it's like, pal.
Yeah, and not just
crazy.
and you know, that experiment doesn't have to be a gender thing. That experiment is also what's it like for other people to talk to me when my eyes are darting all over the place, when I'm constantly looking at the door to see who's walking in the room, or I'm checking my phone, or whatever thing it is I do that I think is not a big deal.
Oh, crazy. What if you could just watch back a recorded version of yourself in your everyday life and be able to walk around you and watch what you did and go,
how you come off. Yeah.
Because I know that there's been many times in my life, and this is a little revealing, but there's been many times in my life where someone said something a long time later and went, man, you were really like this or like that in that situation. I was like, what? I was? You're like, why were you such a dick to that guy or something? You know, really?
Like, oh, dude, I didn't know.
I wasn't meaning to do that at all. Yeah, you totally just sloughed him right off. And it'd be like, well, let me just rewind that back and check that out.
Yeah.
There's actually did you ever see the Black Mirror series?
Yes.
There's a Black Mirror, the best one. I think the one that Robert Downey Jr. is turning into a film.
Yep.
Is all about that, like that you're constantly recording your POV all the time,
Yeah.
and you can just watch it back, and it has so many ramifications for the world and how we interact with each other. Of like, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. All right, well, let's fucking watch it. Put it up on the big screen from your perspective, and let's both see what it was like for you.
Yeah. It's going to be such a brilliant tool for that stuff. It's going to be such a brilliant tool for, right now there are all these weird things where like doctors are operating via telepresence.
Yeah.
Doing simple operations, but actually having a three-dimensional sense of space and fine control over that from a distance is way different than what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Which is, it's more like controlling a CAD machine or something where they're plotting points of a laser and stuff. So to be able to actually do your job from a distance, one-to-one, to be able to attend something that you can't go to one-to-one in a real way. Not like I'm watching it on Twitch or I'm watching a live stream of it, but it feels like I'm there.
Right.
There are some people who are working, Emily Eiffel and Vi Hart and a couple other people on YouTube are working on something right now for the Oculus that's just like a helmet or a sphere of cameras, and they put it down in the middle of something and record the video from all angles.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've seen there's a Coldplay concert or something that they were demoing at an event I was at.
Yeah.
That's like
so
that.
It's sort of like that, and it's they actually recorded Hank Green's band, and they put the helmet in the middle of the stage. Or they do a talk show, and they do a talk show that is host and guests sitting on the same couch talking to each other, and then you are looking from the perspective of somebody who's sitting on a couch across from them, but you're so close that it's like a real conversation where you're looking back and forth, and you're choosing who to watch at any given time. And it's like, I'm not as interested in her question as I am in her reaction.
It's like a cut scene in Half-Life 2.
Yes.
It's, it's that, except it's all around you.
It's all around you. And I think something like that, even in the way that we experience a movie, a concert, a show, the ability to look around and decide what we think is important within that media is
Do you think that removes... I mean, you're a guy who studied filmmaking and has done a lot of video production.
It's a clusterfuck.
You're saying that this technology
It's going to be a clusterfuck.
Right? Because the art, as you well know, the artistry of filmmaking is deciding what you're looking at.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, VR is the future, but it's not the future of everything. And right now, people really like to talk about VR as though it's the future of every facet of everything. So is VR the future of games? Yes. Will you play every game in virtual reality? Absolutely not.
Right.
Will you watch every movie in virtual reality? No. We actually know now from playing with the Oculus that the most traditionally fun games, the games that are the biggest games that sell the best, that type of game, that type of genre, doesn't necessarily translate really well to VR.
Right. Yet.
But I would argue that in order for it to translate well, the technology will either have to get 1,000 times better, which it will, or you'll have to change the content so fundamentally that it will no longer be that genre. It'll be something that used to be that
new
genre.
Thing.
Yeah, because like for me, when I play a first-person action game in VR, Mirror's Edge, for instance, there's a Mirror's Edge mod. Like, it's kind of cool from like a perspective of look at the fireworks show.
Yeah.
But there's no wind in my hair. Those hands aren't my hands. Those feet aren't my feet. I don't feel like I'm jumping. I don't feel like I'm moving. And we're so far away from that.
Right.
And so that's why for me it's like, I'm sure these guys are like, yeah, games. We're Oculus. We're making games. But like, dude, we're also making something that's going to fundamentally change everything in some way.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy it because we're selling it as a games thing and that's the audience that's ready right now, take it. Play your games. Because some games in there are really great.
Yeah.
But I find that it's like any human interaction device. It's like any product or thing you use during the day. It has to be designed for the way you use it.
Well, what about social media applications? I mean, you read Ready Player One, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, there's about to be a major spoiler for Ready Player One, so if you haven't read that, skip forward 15 seconds. But there's a character in Ready Player One who turns out to be a female, and he only interacts with this person through a virtual space. I can imagine a social media situation where you're meeting new people only in the virtual space, and they're representing themselves as whatever they want, as a fucking My Little Pony. If
Listen,
they want.
dude. Catfish in VR is gonna be the best. You're gonna be able to catfish the shit out of people in VR. It's gonna be amazing. One day in the future, when all the shit that I'm doing in my life fails and I am fat and alone, I will be catfishing the fuck out of people in VR. I'm just like a cool young bro like you. I'm just like a cool pretty lady. Why don't you come over to my house where it's dark and horrible and full of terrors? Because
Why do you have the desire to do that?
I'm just saying, man, like if things, it makes me feel a little bit better if everything fails to know that there's still some good fucking catfishing ahead of me. You know, if everything goes wrong and I'm just a horrible failure of a human being and I'm just like so, you know, like the kind of big where like they just can't remove you from your house. Like, you know, like that could happen, right? Surge is coming back. I ordered a bunch of it. Like, I want to know that at least through my technical skills and my social savvy, I will be able to catfish people on a level no one's ever catfished at before. King Catfish.
King Catfish of the Catfish Nation.
How do you guys feel about VR? Are you excited about entertainment? Are you excited about the sort of the scientific and social aspects of it?
How would you want to represent yourself? Giant 6-foot-tall ear of corn, perhaps?
Maybe. Well, I'll tell you how I'd do myself 6 inches taller, according to that study.
Yeah,
Apparently,
man.
I'd feel way better. You can tweet that stuff to us. I'm at @acarboni.
And I'm at Jeff Canada.
And if you've seen a story like this that you want to let us know about, man, you guys know, it's wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com. You should also send some congratulatory, oh my God, Jeff Canada is married, Mazel Tov emails to that as well.
But be aware, I won't respond to them for a while.
Not for a while. I'll respond as Jeff. We can both log in. I'm going to catfish
catfishing me.
Yeah, I'm going to catfish people as Jeff Canada. That's who I look like in cyberspace.